2 Kings 5, verse 22. Gehazi now has run down Naaman, and Gehazi just couldn't bear to let the silver, the gold, the changes of garments, all of these things that Naaman had brought with him to give as a gift to the man of God when he was healed of his leprosy. And Gehazi can't bear to see these things go back up the road. And I think that Gehazi has a very selfish attitude about this. I think Elisha calls him out on precisely what he wanted the money for. Is it a time to receive money and to receive garments and olive yards and vineyards and sheep and oxen and men servants and maid servants? You and I know from the Bible that there's a time to receive and then there's a time to give away. There's a time to receive and a time to refrain from receiving gifts from men and receiving things from men. And this was not the time. So Gehazi has followed after Naaman. He finally chases him down. Naaman says, "Is all well?" In verse 21, in verse 22, Gehazi replies, and he said, "All is well." Then notice the series of lies that are now going to be told. If you ever start telling lies, you'll have to tell lies the rest of your life. If you'll tell the truth, just simply tell the truth. You don't have to have a very good memory because the truth will stand when the world's on fire. But if you're going to be given to telling lies, stretching the truth, telling yarns and fables, you'd better have a very good memory because you'll have to remember every lie you told and to whom you told those lies so that you can keep all of your lies straight. Why don't you just tell the truth and be who you are and what you are and who God made you to be? Just be that to the glory and honor of God, and I promise that everything else will work itself out. And he said, all is well. That is not entirely true. He's stretching the truth. And then he begins to tell plain, bald-faced lies. He said, my master hath sent me. That's a lie. Now, Elisha's spirit went with Gehazi because Elisha knew what Gehazi had done and that Gehazi had done that which was not pleasing unto the Lord. My master hath sent me. That's a lie. Saying, behold, even now there be come to me from Mount Ephraim 2 young men of the sons of the prophets. That's a lie. Now, it might be that there were some preacher boys that had come down from Ephraim and that had gone and enrolled in Elisha's school of the prophets. That might well be. I mean, there were many young prophets that were enrolled in Elisha's school of the prophets. And 2 of them truly might have been from Ephraim. But for Gehazi to use these 2 young preacher boys from Mount Ephraim, if truly there were 2 preacher boys from Ephraim, and to build this ruse around them that Elisha had sent him now to get some clothing and to get some money to pay their tuition, that's a lie. It's a lie. It is a misrepresentation of the facts. Now, the Bright Spot Hour is a real entity. You're listening to it now on the radio. And I'm a real preacher. You can write to me and I'll write back to you and I'll sign the letter. But for me to say that the Bright Spot Hour is this great, we're on 38 radio stations. For me to try to build or paint a picture in your mind that the Bright Spot Hour has a staff of 100 and that we, like Focus on the Family is so big they have their own zip code. I mean, Focus on the Family is so big, it's its own corporation. They receive so much mail that they have their own zip code. Well, now the Bright Spot Hour doesn't have its own zip code. Well, our zip code is Downtown Post Office, P.O. Box 429602. That's the Downtown Post Office. Now, the Bright Spot Hour is a real entity, and you're listening to all of the Bright Spot Hour staff. I open the mail, I fill the orders, I preach the sermons, I record for the radio, I have people come in to record with me. Andrew Daughtery comes in. Carson Edwards, you heard him a few weeks ago on the radio, and you'll hear him regularly in the days to come. And these are real people, and they come and record with me. And that's the fact and the truth. And that's the truth exactly as it is. But for me to misrepresent that and make it sound bigger than it actually is exactly what Gehazi is doing here. Now, these preacher boys might have come, but he said, Elisha sent me because we've had these two preacher boys that have come to the school of the prophets, and they need some clothing and some money. Now, at that point, this becomes a lie. It becomes a lie. Even now there be come to me from Mount Ephraim 2 young men of the sons of the prophets. Give them, I pray thee, a talent of silver and 2 changes of garments. These 2 young men are going to need some money to pay their tuition. So they need a talent of silver. I would assume, from casually reading this text, that would be a talent of silver apiece. So that would be 2 talents of silver in total. Then they're going to need some clothing to wear to class and to wear to church, and they're going to need some clothing, and so he says, and 2 changes of garments. And I would assume that that's 2 changes of garments per young man. So we have 2 wedges of silver and 4 changes of garments. Now, the lie Gehazi has now told is one of the oldest lies known to man. And Gehazi says, I need the silver, these wedges of silver. I take it that it's 2 wedges, and I need these changes of garments, and I take that it's a total of 4 changes of garments. And then Gehazi tells one of the most famous lies that has ever been told in the history of the human family. He says, it's not for me, it's for someone else. I need this clothing and this money for these 2 young men of the sons of the prophets. It's not for me, it's for someone else. How many times have you and I heard that ruse? We've heard that lie. We've heard a statement, I'm doing this for the children. I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing it for these people, or I'm doing it for those people. Politicians are notorious for telling those kind of lies. Why we need to go up on the taxes, and the reason we need to go up on the taxes is for the children. Why I'm running for office because of the children. I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm taking the position I'm taking because of these people over here, these young people over here, or the young people over there. That is a timeless lie, a timeless ruse. And Naaman said, be content. Take 2 talents. That's why I believe it was a talent each. Take 2 talents, 1 per young preacher boy. And he urged him and bound 2 talents of silver in 2 bags with 2 changes of garments, and laid them upon 2 of his servants, and they bare them before him. He gave to Gehazi exactly what he asked for. And he put the silver and the garments on these 2 servants, and they bare them before him. And when he came to the tower, he took them from their hand and bestowed them in the house, and he let the men go, and they departed. It's interesting. And you and I know that Elisha did not send Gehazi. But if Elisha had sent Gehazi, he would not have hidden the money and the garments in the tower. He would have carried them in the house. He would have taken them home with him and carried them inside and said, I brought this for the preacher boys, and this will help them pay their school tuition, and we'll give these boys some clothes to wear to church and some clothes to wear to class. And in fact, he would have brought them in and showed Elisha, look what I got from Naaman. Look at these clothes that I brought back for the preacher boys and the money that I got to pay their tuition. Why, Gehazi knew he was lying the whole time, and the man Elisha, the man of God, knew that Gehazi was lying. If he had not been lying, why did he hide the money and hide the clothing. If he wasn't lying, why all the secrecy? Why did he hide this? But he went in and stood before his master, and Elisha said unto him, Whence comest thou, Gehazi? Now notice the lie Gehazi tells. Where have you been, Gehazi? And he said, Thy servant went no whither. That is a bald-faced lie. Whenever he said, My master hath sent me, that is a bald-faced lie. When he said the prophets have come, that is a misrepresentation of the truth. It's turning the truth or making an event into something that it was not. That'd be very much akin to bearing false witness. This is a bald-faced lie. Thy servant went no whither. Now look, if you and I go where we're supposed to go and we don't go where we're not supposed to go, and you and I are accountable to the people in our lives and accountable most importantly to God, I'll never have to tell a lie about where I've been or why I'm 11 o'clock coming home or 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock coming home. If you and I would just tell the truth, if we would live in the truth and let our conduct exemplify the truth, let the chips fall where they may, as it were, our lives would be so much better off. We would sleep better at night. Our consciences would be clear. And praise the Lord, we would never be caught in a lie. Now tomorrow, the Lord willing, on the day after Thanksgiving, I'm going to continue, and we're going to find the result and the repercussion that comes upon Gehazi because of this series of lies. Now I want you to be sure now to be listening to the Right Spot Hour by the grace of God on the program tomorrow. May the Lord richly bless you. Until then.
You may write the Bright Spot Hour at Post Office Box 4, Greenville, South Carolina 29602. This is Mark Ferguson saying, be by your radio.